Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphanlast, aka Skylar Madison, and today I'm going to go ahead and draw out an image that I really just wanted to draw. Not because I needed to teach someone something, not because I needed it for my channel, but because I wanted to just communicate what the experience is when you draw. Or at least how it feels, at least with an image in some way. And even though the goal was to not use this image for my channel, I wound up using my mascot inside of this image primarily because I need to get used to drawing my mascot. And it turns out I can actually use this on my channel eventually when I get to the point to where I can do tablet reviews and such like that. So that's a plus. I didn't set out for that, but you know, that it's a plus that I don't have to do extra work later on down the road. Because of that. Sometimes in order to avoid burnout, you need to draw for the reasons that you actually wound up drawing, not just because you want to draw and educate and draw images specifically for education purposes and such. And so that's the reason why I drew this. Yeah, I think that if I were to use this inside of a tablet review, I could just replace the tablet on that's inside of the canvas and just replace it with the tablet that I might be reviewing. So I suppose this could potentially show up in every single one of my tablet reviews. It all depends, and all that good stuff. I feel like I've seen this image before, but I don't know where, or something, an image that's somewhat similar. So if it winds up looking exactly like another image, I'm sorry. I mean, like, I wasn't using it as a reference. This was all from my head. And it's so rare for you to run into original thoughts and original images. Sometimes it's more often that you run into accidental recreations. So, you know, to the best of my knowledge, this is an original image. So, you know, I'm starting to actually fall in love with Affinity Designer. Now, I keep getting people requesting basically a sort of workflow, sort of tutorial when using Affinity Designer. And I have every intention of doing that eventually. I don't plan on teaching how to use Affinity Designer because all of the tutorials for Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo, they already exist. Like, they're all out there, and I don't really have anything else to contribute, except for maybe a workflow tutorial, which, you know, you get a series of tools and features and you don't know how to use them in a way where you can actually draw. And I think that's what a lot of people are running into. They don't know how to draw inside of Affinity Designer, and eventually I nailed it down. I was able to actually figure it out, whereas a lot of people haven't. And so I plan on teaching that eventually, but right now I just want to love this program. I just want to use it for a little bit before I go about teaching it, because nothing ends a little romance, I guess, quicker than having to make a business relationship out of it. So anyways, yeah, just describing the image, you know, it's me touching a stylus against a tablet, and, you know, there's this ink splatter or paint splatter brush that appears, and I guess that would be symbolic of something like a rough sketch, and then in the end it produces inside of this image a beautiful woman, or a beautiful image, is basically what I'm mentioning, what it symbolizes, I guess, while I'm describing the image as well. But another way to put it, when my sense of humor kicked in and I looked at this image, you know, you put your stylus to your tablet, and it goes ahead and poops out a woman, which, if it did that, I tell ya, I'd be the happiest man on earth. Anyways, so, yeah, drawing with rasters instead of Affinity Designer, it takes no processing power at all. Like, you can make a gigantic brush and just all the way across your canvas without it having to load or lag out. And you don't even need to have a really fancy computer either. My computer's a piece of crap. And in fact, I'm kind of in the works towards getting a better computer. but that's going to be a little while from now. But yeah, better computer down the road. But yeah, it seems like even with Affinity Photo, whenever I draw with rasters and stuff with a lot of the software, it seems like there comes a point to where it starts to lag. I don't get that sensation with Affinity Designer. There's not very many tools with the raster tools instead of Affinity Designer, but really it's at least 1,000 times more tools than I would ever use with pencil and paper. Here's a list of all the tools that I have when I draw a pencil and paper. It's a pencil and a piece of paper. That's it. That's all. It could be a dollar store mechanical pencil. I don't care. That's what I usually use. So, there's all these thoughts that, oh, you need to have the best software. Oh, you have to have all the tools. Oh, you have to have this or that. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Not even slightly. You don't even need to spend money in order to produce great images on your computer. I've already proven that on my channel. Most of the artwork on my channel is produced by free software. And it's only until recently that I've started to use Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo, and yeah, that's all just a really inexpensive, biggest bang for your buck sort of thing. And yeah, so when I started teaching the curvilinear perspective series, I was saying I don't think that I'm going to use the assistant tool that much inside of that playlist. And I wound up using it all the time. And some of the reason is for two reasons, okay? First reason is because I noticed how easy it was to learn. It was easier for people to see what was going on the screen. Easier for education purposes for me to use the assistant tool every single time. So, because they're able to see all of the guides, they're able to see all of the vanishing points throughout the entire video. Not only that, like I said, Krita can lag out if you make a long brush stroke, and so the brush stroke may not even look anything like your stroke sometimes. At least initially, this is how my experience was with Krita. It's improved over the years, and I bet it's going to continue to improve, but it's not quite as smooth as the raster experience inside of Affinity Designer. For some reason, I don't know why. So, I like freehanding my curvilinear perspective, my panoramic drawings. Yeah, I like freehanding that, my backgrounds. I like doing that. And since Affinity Designer feels the most like a digital interface for pencil and paper, with far more tools than you need, really, honestly, it is more tools than you need. I just thought, wow, I can actually freehand curvilinear perspective with my crappy graphics tablet. That's awesome. I don't need the assistant tool all the time. But if I do wind up teaching more about curvilinear perspective, which I do plan on doing, I do plan on using the assistant tool. I've been researching this azimuthal equidistant sort of cartographic projection, and what I'm finding is that it would need to be freehanded. The assistant tool is not equipped to use the azimuthal equidistant for some reason. I don't know why. But it's just the assistant tool hasn't been designed to do it yet, at least. And so that would have to be a tutorial where I'd freehand it inside of Affinity Designer. And so we'll have to see how that all works out and pans out. But yeah, drawing the smoke was really easy. What I did was I actually, you saw it on the screen earlier, I put a raster image down and I went ahead and traced it and as a template and drew little symbols that meant specific things. And then I went ahead and inked that template, and those little symbols told me how much I needed to blur it, how bright it was, or how dim it was, or if it happened to kind of fade out or have a gradient of some sort. And I took advantage of that 100%. And I don't know if what I wound up having actually looks like smoke. I kind of doubt that it does. All I was really concerned about was having something that looked magical. That's all that I wanted. I wanted something that looked magical, like the experience of drawing an image. when you see it coming together, it's just such a rewarding experience, and I just love it. It's something that I can't put into words, and so I'm putting it into an image here, and I'm just so happy about that. Like it's coming out pretty good. Right here, the actual image is coming up on the screen really soon here. And the only thing that I'm really picky about is how his hips are just kind of twisted way too much. I need to get his hips more on a 3/4 angle like the rest of his body. And, you know, I need to do something with the woman a little bit more. Some people might comment, oh, her head's too big. Well, the thing is like, it's the same proportions as my mascot. So, yes, my mascot's head is like an orange on a toothpick. So that can be expected. So, yeah. I think it turned out looking really good. I'm not done with it. I'm going to continue working on it down the road. Anyways, guys, that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys would like to get more notifications from me, feel free to click on the bell or go ahead and follow me on Twitter. The link is supplied in the video description below. And if you'd like to see more of my content, feel free to click on anything appearing on the screen right now. Peace!